everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I think that we are going to work a little bit on dealing with our emotions. So, first and foremost, we need to practice being aware of them. And in the last week, I have had a range of emotions that's a little out of the norm. I have had some times where I've felt anxious or worrisome, a little bit of irritation. And so I just want to remind everybody of the tools that we have to work with our emotions. And so first and foremost is the awareness, and just noticing when perhaps the news gets to be a little bit too much for you, or social media is wearing on your emotions, things like that. And so I've come to a couple of places in the last week where I've needed to just abstain from the news, abstain from my cell phone, abstain from social media, just so that I can witness my center and kind of revel in that place. So the first thing that I like to do when I become aware of emotions that are not serving me very well is I like to just ground myself, and that entails putting my feet on the floor and really noticing the places where my feet make contact. The bottom of each toe, the ball of the foot, the arch, the heel. And then I take time to notice the weight of my legs and the pressure that it puts on the feet. And then I come up a little bit further and I notice where I am making contact with a chair or the sofa, sometimes the floor or the ground. And then I bring my torso into alignment with the bottom half of the body. So I check to make sure that my feet have a good stance and that my knees and toes are pointing the same direction. I bring the spine up long and tall, and I try to make some space between the shoulder blades, between the shoulders and the hips. And I kind of push up a little bit through the crown of my head, and that brings a slight tuck to my chin. Then I squeeze those shoulder blades behind me, and I move my ears over my shoulders. And I just begin to breathe slowly. Breathe in a fashion so that you can hear your breath. For the advanced yogi, that's your Ujjayi breath. And otherwise, it's just breathing out loud. I allow the face to soften, and I put a gentle squeeze on my core. And then I just take an inventory of what's happening throughout my body. I notice my hands. Notice if they're feeling cool or warm. Check in with the palms. Sometimes mine are a little clammy. Notice how your belly feels. Tune into the activity of the mind and the emotions, and just be aware of how you're showing up. Being curious for a moment about what's going on physically, emotionally, mentally. And I just take a few minutes and I begin to move my head around slightly, slowly. And I really tune in to what the sensations are. If I can feel the weight of my glasses on my face. Perhaps as you do this, you can notice your hair moving about. The sound that your neck bones make as you move. And this is just a gentle and slow side-to-side movement. We come back to center. We lengthen and square our posture away. And then I invite you to take a few cleansing breaths, and I want you to allow the lungs to fill up as much as they can. And so to help this, we lengthen the spine, I squeeze the core, and I really open up the top part of my torso, squeezing those shoulder blades behind you, feeling that sensation from the shoulders to the top of the chest. And we breathe that big breath in, and as you exhale, you can sigh that breath out, or you can blow it out like you're cooling off your cup of coffee. And then just a moment to soften through the whole torso, maybe taking some organic movement. And I want you next to tune into the sensations through the shoulder girdle. So, do you notice tension or tightness? Have you become aware of a knot that's developing? This is a place where the body holds emotions, and that tension is unreleased emotion. Things that you worry about, things that are concerning, things that aren't going the way that you planned, all weigh on you through the area of the shoulders. And so let us just practice moving the shoulders in a slow and deliberate fashion. So I want you to bring the shoulders up nice and high, and I want you to inhale. And then as you clear that exhale and let that air release, you bring the shoulder blades together behind you and you draw them down towards the hips, nice and slow on your exhale. The inhale brings them up again. Really high, exaggerated. Exhale, same thing. Shoulder blades, squeeze them nice and tight behind you. Open up the shoulders on the front side. Draw the shoulders down towards the hips. 2 more of those will really do you good. Bringing them up nice and high, squaring them away behind you, drawing them down. Uniting the breath with the movement. And then we come to a still space and just take a cleansing breath right there. Taking time now, just check in with the posture, the shoulders, that front side of the chest. Now more than ever, the breath work is really important. And I want you to pay attention to the quality of breath and to the sensation of what it is to breathe. Taking a nice big breath, and then as you exhale, squeeze your core gently, and then just move the torso forward, bringing the head towards the lap. And this is a cat pose. The chin comes towards the chest, and as you inhale, you're going to go ahead and move the spine back, move the shoulders over the hips, lengthen the spine, lift the face, and then Move the body into that arched forward position. Excuse me. Lifting the chin, moving the arms back, opening the chest up on the top side. As you exhale, you're going to move into that previous pose. And these are our cat-cows. And we keep the core engaged as we move through these. I want you to plan on doing about 7 of them. It won't take long, but keep the core engaged. And what we're doing is we're moving the fluid along the spine. We're moving the muscles and we're creating a space where the low back can relax and release. That's why we keep the core engaged. Exhale brings you forward into that cat pose and you're squeezing all of the air out. And as you inhale, you move slowly as you transition from one pose to the next. And just really notice how good this feels in your body. Perhaps it doesn't feel good in your body, but I want you to pay attention to what the sensations are like, because you're making little bookmarks. Maybe when you turn this video on in a couple of days, you'll notice that it feels different, perhaps improved. All right, just moving through those, your own pace. And I just want you to finish the set that you're on and then come to a nice seated pose. Cleansing breath here, nice and slow, long and complete. All right, another thing that I like to use in my personal practice is twists. A twist is really good for the organs internally. It's good for emotional release, and it is good to work the obliques as well. So to get this started, we sit nice and tall. We bring the top of the spine over the base of the spine. We move the shoulders into that space where they're opened up, and we bring the ears over the shoulders. We squeeze the core, and as you exhale, I want you to take a nice twist to the right. That left hand comes to the outside of the right thigh. We push the right shoulder back. We turn the head, but we keep the chin parallel to the floor. The core is engaged, and we breathe just a few rounds of nice, slow breath. Keep the core engaged. As you inhale next time, bring your body back to neutral. And as you exhale, check in with your core and twist to the left. Check in with the shoulders, check in with the jawline, and breathe. As you inhale next time, come back to center. With your exhale, take that twist back to the right. And now I want you to notice your feet. I want you to be mindful of what's going on with the knees and the sensations through the torso now. Breathing slowly still. Inhale back to center. And as you exhale over towards the left, check in with the core. Don't let the knees move too much. Maybe lift the toes and lengthen the spine. And we're just breathing right here, squeezing the core, noticing what's happening on this side of the torso as you twist back to center. Cleansing breath. All right. Then we begin to move the feet and just notice the places that they make contact with the floor. Curling and uncurling the toes. So as you inhale, spread the toes. As you exhale, curl them under and clench the feet a little bit. Inhale, open the toes. Exhale, close them. Squeeze them. All right. And then I just notice how they feel after a few of those. And then I bring the feet up so that the ball of the foot is under the knee. And as you breathe slowly, you just alternate flexing each foot, lengthening through it, and just noticing how the legs are feeling. Maybe you want to move them a little faster, and that's okay too. Just move the breath slowly, okay? All right, then I like to stretch through the legs. So I'm on the edge of my chair and I lengthen those legs out and I put the back of the heel to the floor and push through the heel, and I get a lot of sensation from the back side of the legs, okay? Lengthen, push in the backs of the knees towards the floor, and then wiggle in those toes. You can move the feet a little bit and then come back to that space where the toes are coming towards the torso. All right, big round of breath here. As you exhale, just bring those legs back to that neutral space. So this is some of what I do when I am feeling a little anxious or overwhelmed. And then I just find myself in my seat or in my chair, and I just make myself comfortable. And I invite you to do the same. I want you to take a few more rounds of slow, deep, and complete breaths. The body can soften a little bit. And I want you to notice where you're at physically now, mentally, emotionally. I want you to just notice where the body makes contact with your chair, where it touches the floor. And then I move into a practice of gratitude. And that changes from day to day and from practice to practice. Next, I would invite you to move from a practice of gratitude to a practice of self-love. And I want you to take a few moments and think about how you talk to yourself. Are you kind and patient? Or are you irritated when you talk to yourself? So of course, I invite you to practice the first, loving kindness and patience. Say to yourself, I am strong. I am a survivor. And I love me. Notice how that feels as you practice that with yourself. Hopefully you'll find that this helps to calm some of the emotions. If if you are interested in knowing more about my practices, you can click the subscribe button down below, and I believe that you'll be notified when I post a new video. Thank you, and please, if you find this useful, you can comment, you can share with your friends and your neighbors or your loved ones who are across the United States or in even another country. Thank you for allowing me to share my practice with you. We'll bring our hands to heart center. Fingers are spread, palms pressed together, spine is long, elbows out side to side. The love and the light that dwells within me bows to the love and the light that dwells within you. Namaste.